But we have used our heritage sites for cultural tourism and not for building global interactions, whereas China has done that very effectively. They have brought in the Maritime Silk Road. There is no such thing. I mean, this is a 19th century invention by a German philosopher. But the Chinese are selling it very well. And they've been doing it since the 1980s. And in the process, they're not only inventing, and this is happening in the South China Sea, they're not only inventing islands, making islands, but actually occupying those islands. So the threat is real. And the threat from the sort of inversion or the a narrative which completely wipes out Indian history is there for us to face. So let's look at the UNESCO Silk Road program. Xuanzhou which is a World Heritage Site. It is transnational. They have already inscribed it, and they have brought in other countries. This is very important. Singapore, Malaysia, Myanmar, Sri Lanka, all the countries that we are looking at, and all the countries which are strategic to our interests. What are they selling? Not just the Maritime Silk Roads concept, which is being sold very well, but also the fact that this took with it ideas, technology, and knowledge systems, because South China also has temples, also has remnants of medieval merchant guilds, but we have not either built into it or even sold it as a universal idea on the global platform. What is being sold, what is being accepted in all across Southeast Asia, not just China, Southeast Asia and Europe, of course, is Admiral Zhenghe's 15th century voyages, which were by no means diplomatic voyages, but by no means, these straightforward voyages in the first place at all. But, you have the Stitch ship, but here is the Chinese ship that has been set up in the Nanjing shipyard. So what is different? What is different is shipwrecks. What is different is underwater archaeology. India is not a signatory to the 2001 convention, but there are reasons for it. And Admiral Chauhan mentioned legislation, because we do not have legislation to protect underwater heritage. We have legislation for land heritage, but not for underwater heritage. And we have to have this legislation in keeping with international requirements. And I'm sure you have in the Asian Civilizations Museum. There's a big gallery. It's called the Shipwreck Gallery. The ship that is displayed there is the Tang shipwreck. Tang being the Tang dynasty of China. So you will ask me that, oh, okay, so was it found in China? No, it was found in Indonesia. It was found off the island of Belitung in Indonesia. But I don't have time to go into the story. If you do Belitung shipwreck, Google Belitung shipwreck, you'll read the story behind it. That how the Belitung shipwreck transformed into a nice Chinese Tang shipwreck, very nicely displayed in the Asian Civilizations Museum. And the ship that carried the Chinese ceramics was a stitched boat. And when it was found, it was labeled Indian. Over the years, it has become Indo-Arab. Why has it become Indo-Arab? Because the Omanis built a replica, sailed it all the way to China and to Japan, and the Singaporeans bought into that, and it's a ship from the Middle East. So the point I'm making is that there is diversity. There is a big gap in what or where we are going as far as the waters is concerned. But should we give up? Should we say, oh, well, we don't have legislation, we don't have shipwreck sites, so where do we go? Where do we move from here? Let's go to the 1972 convention. So all is not lost. And the point I'm making is that we can still build a very good narrative. We have the wherewithal, but we really need to put our minds to it. The current priority area of UNESCO are twofold: small islands and Africa. Small islands we can really build on that, And the map that you have is Maldives, which is an archipelago which has several small islands. India has an island identity. It is called Jambu Dweepa. The Brahmagiri inscription of Ashok talks about Jambu Dweepa. This is not the perception that the Greeks had of India. The Greeks thought, after the Ganga, there was nothing more. There was no peninsula. So this is the Greek perception of India. But why don't we build on our own identity of Jambu Dweepa, the identity of India as an island? Why don't we connect to other islands? There are several in the Western Indian Ocean, starting from Failaka in Kuwait to Socotra off the Yemeni coast, Salsette, which you will be surprised. I mean, today is Mumbai, but it was islands. And of course, the Maldives. Let me just try and connect these islands and see whether I can convince you that we have a good solid base to go for the transnational nomination.